Good morning. Today is December 30th. It is 10 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. Mr. Eldon Callan.
Here.
Mr. Ed Hawkins.
Here.
Mr. Tom Bloom. All three of us are here. When I ask you to rise for a moment of silent meditation and pledge of the flag, I also ask to keep in your prayers Eldon's mother-in-law, Catherine Collins Binks, passed away the other day, so please keep her in your thoughts. Thank you. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tom.
You're quite welcome. Consents and approvals?
Good morning. We have 5 exonerations for $6,369.04. Fiduciary orders for December 30th and statement of services for Cynthia Van Stafford and George Armistead. We have no minutes to approve this morning. Vouchers, 190, General County 191, 174.53, 911, 9,826.40, Chestnut Ridge Park 593.55, Assessor's Valuation 93.63, P-card vouchers, General County 13,978.94, and 911 198.75. There were actually some transfers this week. General School Fund to General Fund, $446,325.51. General Fund to Camp Muffley Fund, $75,000. General Fund to 911 Fund, $32,831, and General Fund to Chestnut Ridge Camp Fund, $112,500. For a voucher total of $882,522.31, and no budget revisions.
Move for approval.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have no introduction of new employees. What about, are we going to have a hearing at this time?
That's next week.
That's next week. Okay. Oops. I guess January 6th, no wonder, January 6th, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, at this time, we'll have comments from the public. Anyone liking to speak, I'd appreciate if you would stand, state your name, your address, and feel free to say whatever you'd like. At this time, the public hearing is open. Is there anybody wanting to speak? Sure, feel free, stand up, state your name, and
Okay, my name is Ralph Cook II, 3511 and a half University Avenue, Star City. I'm here on behalf of the TIF project that's going on down there. There's a lot of open-ended questions. As a business owner for the last 9 years at that location, it's just been a consistent headache with road closures and misunderstandings and what's come out of our pockets to pay for construction and inconveniences. The last county commission meeting I came to, it was spoke that, along with this updated sidewalk and infrastructure and utilities, that was going to proceed to our building, which it has stopped at the property line. No, I can't get any direct answers on formal blueprint or, we keep doing all these extensions. Don't know where we're at with the project, why we're at where we're at. There's just a ton of questions, and just as a personal issue and a business owner, TIF to me is probably one of the worst things that happened to that area. He tore down a bunch of properties that gave tax money, B&O taxes. There's nothing coming out of this. Future development, there's a curb there now. They're talking about no access onto Boyers Avenue. That's a big issue for me. My parking lot, that's its road access other than a back alley. And all the construction that's going on is all they're using is that alley. It is nothing but mud. My vehicles, my trailers are getting trashed. Some people say, well, because it's Boyers Avenue, we got to deal with the state. Some people say, well, it's Star City's project. And, you know, essentially the county commission approves the project and the TIF's paying for it. And I just need to see where we're at and who's responsible for it. You know, I can't move forward as a business owner, you know, or, you know, in any way, because my hands are tied in every direction. And I do not want to be, and I will not be put in a situation like the Sunnyside Superette. You know, the city turned around and closed the roads and put him in a bad position. And I've been fighting this now for almost 10 years with my business being there. Every time they want to do a TIF project, it is done incorrectly. The timing's not right. They do not notify the property owners. They do not notify the business owners of road closures or anything that goes on. I'm tired of going to city council meetings and getting the runaround. I'm planning to come to the meeting this afternoon and hopefully get some more answers. But like I said, I'm just a really disappointed citizen, and I'm a citizen here in Morgantown and a business owner. It's been a long, frustrating road, and it's been financially exhausting. You know, I've given up work for my entire day to day. The council meetings I go to religiously, you know, on Tuesday nights with Star City, time away from my family, working down there, fixing things that they don't fix, water runoffs, you know, and nobody's held accountable for anything. So that's what I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I just want to respond. Okay, you are aware the meeting will be at 2 o'clock.
Correct.
And we believe the three of us are going to ask those questions that you have asked, because we do not know the answers, but we will hopefully find out today. We'll have a better understanding. Did you want to say?
Well,
Since you're the one who figured out how to.
Right, well, as county commission, we approved the project plan, the implementation of that project plan and the contracts between the Star City and the contractor. Now, they're supposed to be in compliance with the project plan. There's been a number of questions raised, some of which you raised today, which will add additional questions that I will have this afternoon. But that is the overall performance and everything is supposed to be overseen by the mayor and the town council of that. They are answerable to us in terms of the project plan or the performance of their various work meets the definition of the project plan. So I can explain that in more detail when we have things this afternoon, but you've added additional questions that I certainly will bring up this afternoon.
And if you have any others, if you want to write them down, we can give you a tablet so we know. And you're going to be there, and since it is a work session, you will be able to ask us to ask questions. Okay, we will have that done. Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
Yeah, I'd like
Yes.
to speak.
Sure.
My name's Rob Cook Sr., and I own the property, actually, that he's describing to in the TIF district.
Okay.
And I'm getting to where I get questions asked about, or statements mentioned about the TIF district, what is maybe the FEMA's coming from, and they're always saying it's not taxpayers' money. Is that correct, or?
Well, that's correct. It's not taxpayers' money. It's from future assets created by the TIF.
By a taxpayer, though?
But,
By-
yeah, by future taxpayers.
Yes, by
That's
future
what I'm saying, but
taxpayers.
it's
Right.
taxpayers' money, correct?
Well, not until it's created by the TIF. It wouldn't exist,
That's what I'm
but
saying,
for
once
the
it's
TIF.
created, though,
Yes.
it's taxpayers' money.
Yeah, but it's not,
It's a tax increment financing project.
Right,
but it's taxpayers' money that wouldn't exist but for the TIF.
correct.
Right.
So it's different than saying my taxes are paying for this, your taxes aren't paying for that.
So
The future taxes.
in
are
my
paying
district,
for it.
though, I pay more because I'm in a TIF district, a higher tax,
No.
No.
No,
Pay the
it's
same
not
as,
higher.
pay the same as everybody.
same as everybody.
Once something is built, then that future revenue that comes up will then be put back into.
pay off the bond.
To pay off the bonds. So, as you ask, it isn't taxpayer dollars now, but down the road, once something is built.
Just
then-
that increment.
Just that
That's how I
increment will be
understand
put
it
it
too, as
back.
far as the TIF, when these projects
Yes.
go into effect, is what's proposed
Yes.
prior to infrastructure, the upgrades of utilities, storm drains and so on and so forth.
Right. It's supposed to create future
Yes.
revenue.
Right.
So if future revenue doesn't arise,
Well, that's
then
what
the
was
banks,
mentioned.
then
What was
the-
mentioned is the utilities supplied in that area, which they're not being supplied on this Boyers Avenue project,
That's what we're gonna find
for
out.
any property owner.
they're not being supplied to the property owners?
No, it stopped at the property line.
No.
Well,
See, this is what we're gonna
That's-
find out today.
Okay, that's just one
Okay.
question. that
We
was-
have the master project plan, and they're supposed to comply with that.
Yeah.
That'd be wonderful.
My recollection is that it did not stop at your property line.
Right.
You know, we've talked before.
Correct.
Right.
So we'll find that out today.
We'll try to figure out
As far
what.
as when a TIF of projects is approved, is there a county engineer that actually reviews the project prior to?
County engineer.
No.
Wait, no engineer, just the engineer that's on the project itself?
Yes.
Yeah, well,
You rely on them.
it's reviewed by the development, reviewed by the commission. In this case, it's reviewed by the council first, commission second, the development office third.
This being on the state right away too, the state doesn't.
I am told it's a
not
state
involved
right
on-
away. I'm told it's a state right away, yeah.
That's what I'm saying, are they involved in the process of approving it?
Well, my understanding is DOH wasn't involved in this, but I don't, again, I've got to find out today. From past meetings, I was told DOH wasn't going to participate. That was from the DOH themselves in this project, that it was going to be strictly a Star City project. Some things that Jim Gaston mentioned last week was that possibly the DOH is involved in this, so we should have been consulted, we weren't.
And something too was brought up on the widening of Boyers, which is pretty much in effect. Also University Avenue, is that something that's proposed to the county at this time?
It's part of the project plan, that intersection portion of it, I forget how far up the hill it went.
So it's basically from Boyers up to a certain point, it's not designated yet.
Well, it probably is, I'm just saying I can't remember where it might be.
And there was, I guess, something that was also signed in an agreement on Boyers Avenue as far as the difference in the payment for the rail spur extension. That was, they have a grant for the cost on that project.
Right.
Which the
Connect
TIF is actually gonna
connect
pay.
underneath the bridge.
And I understand the TIF's gonna pay the 20% difference
Yeah, that.
Yes.
to pay for that, which was added on the
Right,
Boyers
that was
Avenue
part of
TIF
the-
project.
That's part of, well, it was all part of one plan, that whole, the TIF was all part of that University Avenue and the waterfront. It goes all across the waterfront, which makes your question is why they're stopping where they're stopping even more compelling. It's like, wait, the TIF, it almost looks like an anchor. You have University Avenue coming down here, and then you got the waterfront here on both sides of the bridge. That was all part of the TIF, and that was adopted by commissioners long before the three of us were here.
Right.
This whole TIF was started before I came on board. By 3 years, I think.
Approved a while back.
Right.
What's that?
This
Yeah,
grant was approved a while back.
Yeah.
yeah, it was approved, like I came here in 2011, and it was, I think 2008
Right.
was the commissioners that approved it, don't hold me to the exact date, I think it was, but that was all approved. We're just trying to carry out what prior commissioners approved.
Okay, the other question too, that come up there was probably going to maybe be something mentioned about the stop of the project on Boyers. And they have got an extension to July 1st
Well,
of
there
2016.
was bond funding based on the development office and the bankers' calculations that had to be expended before December 31st. It had previously been granted in a 6-month extension, and they asked for another 6 months extension. It's no additional bonds, it's just bonds that have not been dedicated. And the council asked us to give them 6 more months to dedicate those bonds. So we granted that to them.
There was one other thing mentioned too, that they could be done with this project in 3 weeks.
It was mentioned.
That's why they're coming in, that's why they're coming in today, because we were totally unaware of that. Otherwise, we'd have probably not met with them until after January, but that's why we rushed the meeting, because Jim Gaston said it was gonna be done in 3 weeks, and I was like, well, we better figure out what is going on.
Yeah, that's what my concern was too, because if it's prolonged, I'm in the same situation where I have a business. or actually a couple businesses, and one that's been on the back burner for over a year because of the situation here.
Yeah.
For setbacks, right-of-ways, and personal property that, you know, you try to develop, which, you know, you pay your taxes, you pay your B&O. You know, you're in compliance with everything as far as the code and so on and so forth, and you're still held up, which, you know, that needs to be expressed too. As far as the property that they're doing, what's really proposed for something that doesn't have any access?
That's what we're gonna figure out today. I hope you realize that this commission is very sympathetic with your plight and some of the things we've brought to our attention. Again, we approved the project plan, which was approved 2010, I think it was, just a few months before I came into office. And then the only time the council really has to come back to us is if they modify that plan. The issue that Jim Gaston brought up last week was that they modified the plan without letting us know. And that's why we called this meeting right away. Look, if you're modifying the plan, you have to get our approval, and we've got to send the information to the development office before you modify the plan.
For
But we're,
modification, though, this plan should be the original one that CTL presented for
back
this
in
passage.
2010 or whatever,
Well,
yeah.
this was just prior to the start of this project.
Well-
CTL had the blueprints. So
Okay.
would you have that today?
We're gonna have,
Well,
we
a
requested
representative from
everything.
CTL will be here today.
Yes.
Okay. The other
Yes.
question, should they be able to, or keep those blueprints accessible to business owners and citizens of the town of Star
It's not
City?
public information.
Yeah.
I mean, you're entitled to.
That's
At
the
the
Star
City Hall.
Cities.
Yeah, it should be.
Okay.
Should be. I mean, they're the contracting agent. We do
Right.
not contract. We just give the approvals for the council to conduct the business.
Right.
Council and mayor.
Okay. I just wanted to address some issues, you know, to try to move forward. as a-
I understand.
We appreciate it, and we are very concerned too, and we will allow you to address any of those issues at the 2:00 work session. Because we're hopefully can get it all resolved today, at least, or an understanding of what the project is, the scope, and that's the concern. If the scope has changed, we may not have known about that, and that's where a problem may exist. And until that time, we'll find out at 2:00. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else wanting to speak, the public portion? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to next agenda. Correspondence. We received a letter several days ago, and I would appreciate if you,
Grant.
oh, grants. Oh, my God. I'm sorry, I'm still upset about the letter. Okay, could we have grants, please?
Got the reimbursement for the court security grant.
Okay,
We have, there was no activity in the months of July, August, September, and November. So I have
no,
3 requests for reimbursement that are 0.
Okay.
And I've signed those. We have a request for October, $26,023. And we have a request for December, $8,106.75.
thank you.
Move for approval.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. It passes.
Thank you. Now you can move on.
Thank you. Now, we will go to correspondence. Oh, thank you.
Great.
We received a letter several days ago from Mr. Canterbury, West Virginia Supreme Court of Appeals, regarding the rent for the Monongalia County Family Court. I would like you to read the letter into record, please, and then we will respond.
Dear President Bloom, I am in receipt of your most recent rent demand, but I am rejecting your rate. Currently, the $12 per square foot that the Administrative Office of the West Virginia Supreme Court pays the Monongalia County Commission for rent for the family court space is the highest rate that is paid anywhere in the state. No other location receives more than $11 per square foot, including Kanawha and Berkeley counties. The code states that the AO, which is the Administrative Office, is to pay, in quote, a reasonable amount as rent for the premises. That's according to Code Section 51-2A20. My approach to determining a reasonable amount is to consider the rent that the AO pays in the state's other urban counties, such as Kanawha, Berkeley, Cabell, Ohio, and Raleigh. Thus, the reasonable amount from a statewide point of view limits the rent in Monongalia County to $12 per square foot. It is also important to note that, as I'm sure you've noticed, West Virginia's general revenue budget is facing very hard times. Indeed, to punctuate this point, in an extremely rare development, the governor asked for a mid-budget year cutback of some 5%. The court also must do its part to reduce expenditures of state tax dollars, and I have certainly not budgeted for rent for Monongalia County family court space that is double the current rate. That simply cannot be supported by our current appropriation. So I must respectfully deny your office's recent demand for a substantially higher rent. Sincerely, Stephen D. Canterbury, Administrative Director.
Who would like to speak first? Because excuse me?
Go ahead.
No. Oh, geez, okay.
I have thoughts, but I'll let you go.
Okay. First of all, I want it very clear that this discussion and letter writing between Diane DeMedici, the County Commission, Angie Saunders, Mr. Canterbury, has been going on since June 23rd. So this isn't just a recent. This has been going on for over 6 months. And after reading the letter, since it was directed to me, is both frustrating and disappointing. First, Mr. Canterbury's first sentence, I'm in receipt of your most recent rent demand, is incorrect, inappropriate, and asinine. The state code is very clear and concise, and I'll read it again. The Supreme Court, and I'll read the exact code. The administrative office of the Supreme Court of Appeals shall pay to the County Commission a reasonable amount as rent for the premises furnished by the County Commission to the Family Court and his or her staff pursuant to the provisions of 51-2A-20. After submitting one appraiser's values, Mr. Canterbury refused the assessment, and we received a letter from Angie Saunders requesting a second appraiser. And in fact, she stated, because you would like to have the property appraised, you may disregard the prior letter and lease agreement approving $12 per square foot. This is in July. Please be aware that the court requires a certified appraisal by a licensed realtor and will not accept quotes. Okay, so when they said, should the court disagree with the certified appraisal obtained by the Mon County Commission, it reserves the right to have the property appraised by a second licensed realtor, which is what we did. They even gave a specific ruling of what he had to have, comparables, okay? He also had to be certified too. He had to have a certain certification, which we did. We followed this instructions and submitted the report. Ironically, the recommendation was $24 a square foot. Instead of working with us, Mr. Canterbury chose to belittle the commission, saying that we're making a demand, and then made decisions that he knowingly, in my opinion, is breaking the state code. Because of this decision, the county residents could lose over $2 million of rent during the next 25 years of the bond. Using Mr. Canterbury's logic, he is informing all the renters in Mon County not to pay their assigned rent if it doesn't compare with other cities in our state. My question is, I wonder what we would do is if we had to go out and rent a building downtown and we had to pay $24 a square foot, which is probably realistic, or more, and then they would only pay $12. I want the public to know that this is not the first time, but the third time that he has involved his superpowers upon us. One letter stating that we have no decision-making or any control of our own new judicial building, and then another situation where he cost the county taxpayers thousands of dollars by allowing the judges and magistrates to refuse the use of our televisions and furniture that we provided for them. I won't even go into his decision by costing the taxpayers the $75,000 to build a magistrate cashier's office that they don't have to use. My question and concern is, what gave him the authority and the right to supersede what is called reasonable? He says, quote, that his approach from my understanding, when we want to come up with a reasonable amount, you go to an appraiser and we get it appraised, which we did not once but twice. We followed his directions and their office directions, and we followed everything they had requested to us. And instead, because there's a budget crisis, because he chooses that it's not reasonable, I would like to ask this question, and I've asked our assessor to find out, Mark Music, the answer. The state just paid for an enormous West Virginia lottery building. I've asked him to find out what the square footage that they paid for. I believe that would be very informative in
A lot more than
comparison.
this.
That's exactly. But $12 a square foot. Just to give you an idea, we were talking about, what, 57, how much square footage are we talking about?
5,780.
5,780 square feet. And how much revenue would we be losing a year if we went by $12 a square foot?
Approximately, well, it would be, 69,360 if you went by $12 a square foot. 2490, which is what the appraisal, said,
Yeah.
was 146, 163.
Which is a difference of roughly
70,000.
times by 25 years of the bond, which is 70,000 times 25, 70,000 times 25 use of the bond. And we did, yeah.
1.8 million.
Okay, roughly 1.8 million. And the concern is, rather than working with us, we followed the rules. We went by what they requested us to do. We wouldn't build a building without their permission. And we're not even talking about several other things about things they've requested that we've had to pick up. I'm just very concerned and very frustrated that the taxpayers of Mon County are going to have to pay for this extra building that the state code says, and I'm going to ask for directions of what we should or could do at this time. That is generally what I like to say.
Well, this doesn't seek a solution. I've been the subject of a mediation, and I think that might be a proper way to go. Perhaps, I'm just suggesting here, a 3-judge panel of real estate experts, which we would pick one, they could pick one, and the two picked could pick a third, and then to try and mediate. Now, mediation is just simply a process. It's not binding. It's not like you're doing, another way could be a declaratory judgment action, but that would be above that, all right? So this would be my suggestion. I don't like to seek a fight that just simply has to play out in press or anything else, rather than when you could possibly have this mediation. I found it worked very well in the case that I had. A simple solution was reached in less than an hour. So that would be my thoughts on the process.
Okay, thank you.
I like that suggestion. I mean, there's other avenues we could. My big concern is twofold, and this has been throughout this whole discussion. Diane has discussed this throughout the thing. I think Renetta and I have discussed it as well. Is this statute, as you read, is very clear. Hundreds of years, the courts have defined shall as mandatory. That doesn't mean that we have to make a demand. They are ordered by the statute to pay the reasonable amount. Also, we have 200 years of case law that defines reasonable. And this reminds me of the guy that's driving on the interstate, and he's speeding down the interstate 80, 90 miles an hour because everyone around him is 80, 90 miles an hour. And he gets stopped and the others let go. And he says, "What's the matter? You can't charge me with this. You didn't charge those 5 other people that were going just as fast." Well, someone who works Supreme Court, I understand that logic, because that's basically what he's saying. I'm not paying the reasonable amount throughout the state, so I'm not going to pay you the reasonable amount. I don't have to. So when he gets caught, he says, "You can't charge me with speeding." And the final thing that people need to understand, we're a subset of the state, but as such, we are on our own revenue source. So you could say, well, I pay my money to the state, so it's all taxpayer money. What difference it makes? It makes a lot of difference. It means it means the citizens of Monongalia County is paying a whole lot more than they're legally responsible to pay. I spent a lot of time in Charleston pointing that out on one project after another project after another thing, that more Monongalia County citizens pay a lot more than they should be and are expected to pay a lot more than they should be, and that's not right. I fight that, and this is another prime example. We are contributing to the state's financial problems by taking more money away from the citizens, because who pays for it? Who pays for that building down there? The citizens. It belongs to the citizens of this county, the taxpayers of this county. That's who it belongs to. And when he rewrites the law,
Right.
and rewrites the interpretation of shall and reasonable, and he says, oh, you can't charge me the reasonable amount because I don't pay anyone else the reasonable amount, is illogical and embarrassing, I think, for him and for the Supreme Court. I'm fine with starting out with a suggested mediation.
We could
I would
yeah.
go ahead and make the motion that we make a proposal
Okay.
to them of this three-judge panel of real estate experts. Again, us appointing one, they appointing another, and then those two appointing a third.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's properly moved in second, and I think that's an excellent suggestion. I do hope that they will support it so we can work through this together.
It puts the ball in their court
Yes.
to be reasonable.
I agree. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It passes. Excellent suggestion, Eddie. Okay, other correspondence.
There's no other correspondence.
Okay, are you here for correspondence? Okay, because I see you out there.
Correspondence or elected officials?
Okay, why don't you can do correspondence now, so that you don't have to. You can do, yeah. Feel free to come, I mean, because I know you have other works. Go ahead.
Yes, I had sent a letter to you all on December 3rd and 4th respectively for 4 employees that I had hired, 2 starting
Right.
in December and 2 that will be starting in January. I understand that 2 of those have been approved, the ones who have started in December. I need a confirmation that the 2 that are going to start January 1, he'll be showing up on Monday, will be approved by this commission.
I thought they already were approved.
No, that's what I'd asked. We had those 2 individuals.
They hadn't started work yet.
They hadn't started work yet, so that's why we hadn't approved it. So the next meeting, that's what stated was that we would do it.
Well, the motion for a hiring freeze specifically eliminated anyone that was already in the hiring process. So I would say that we would approve these 2.
Yeah.
I just want a
That-
confirmation,
Right.
he's
Yeah, I understand why you're
scheduled to
getting
show up on Monday,
Right.
so.
Yeah, I understand, and, but we specifically excluded anyone that was in the hiring process.
Right. And if
Okay.
you just bring them up on Wednesday, that would be perfect.
Well, the one will be, as I said in my letter that I sent yesterday, the one is starting on Monday, he'll be here January the 6th.
Yeah.
The other gentleman is starting on January the 11th, he'll be here January 13th.
Okay.
That's
We
exactly-
didn't want to interfere with any hiring process that already existed.
Right, that you had already.
Thank you.
Okay.
I do have one other issue, if
Sure.
I may.
Go ahead.
And I'm not certain, I am assuming that the county commission got information from the state auditor's office that they will not be conducting the audit for our county this year, and that we are obligated to seek out our own firm to do the audit.
No.
Okay, well.
I guess we just found out.
They had sent a letter, normally that is all handled by county commission, so I'm assuming
never
that you all have received that information.
We haven't
No,
received
none of
the
us have
letter.
received a
Okay.
letter.
I will forward
Okay.
that packet to you so that you all, because now an audit committee has to be appointed. We have to send out RFPs to seek out certain CPA firms
Right.
previously authorized by the state auditor's office to do that. And we are still obligated to meet a March 24th or 26th deadline for our federal audit purposes. So I will make sure that that gets up here today then.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, seeing none, unfinished business. Discussion of possible dates for the second and third reading of the proposed amendments to the Mon County Building Ordinance for Volunteer Fire Department. Could you explain what,
Well, you all had approved the changes that the Firemen's Association suggested for the billing ordinance. And as I was getting ready to make the final copy for you all to sign, I realized that we have to have a second and third reading,
Okay.
even though
I
it was...
thought it was just a revenue.
I did
It's not
too.
a revenue thing.
Right.
It's not a tax.
No, but it's
It's-
still, I checked with Phil and he said that
Phil,
we still
yeah.
have to have a second and third reading.
All right,
So, I just like to
just read the
propose.
title.
Well, we had the title
reading.
last week.
Yeah, but
So we can,
well, let's have a second reading by reading the title.
we have to set a date and a time,
that's what he said.
because it has to be published in a newspaper prior to.
Oh, we have
second
to.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have to go through and then
Yeah.
hold
It's
a
not
week
a
between
tax.
the second
I
and the...
know.
That was what
I
was...
know.
That's only revenue raising that applies to all
I know.
people in the community. All right, he's our attorney, whatever he
Sorry.
says. I'm not gonna- I'm sorry, I
Suggested
Okay.
dates.
I gotta go
Okay.
back to my commissioner hat.
Okay, so our second reading, I suggest January 6th at 10:20. And the third reading will be January 20th, since you all aren't having the meeting on the 13th. January 20th at 10:30.
Move to approve the
Second.
reading dates.
Properly moved and second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes. Any other unfinished business?
No.
Okay, good. Okay, new business. Discussion of Guardian Vision dental insurance rate increase. Remember, there was some question or concern by whether the Affordable Care Act caused...
Force the increase,
Yeah,
Yes.
and this is what we found out.
Okay, what I found out was it's actually not considered, it's not actually called a tax. It's called a health insurer fee. And what it is
Do I
that
have to have 3 readings?
the the Affordable Care Act
Put a little
places an
trivia out
annual
there.
fee on health insurance premiums payable in 2016 based on 2015 to earn premium. The insurer fee will fund subsidies for lower income individuals and families to purchase health insurance on the public exchange. So that's it. It's a 2.5% to 3.5% fee nationwide. Okay, so every health insurance, every plan that is offered to
Supposed to
employees
add that if they don't need it. they're
as a
supposed
group
to add
plan,
that.
yes. So it's actually not a tax in wording, so I don't know. I guess I spoke with payroll and she said that in order to get that implemented for the first pay period in January, we would need to decide that today. So I did some calculations, and depending on how you want to handle it, if the county would choose to, so the increase is 76 cents for single coverage and $5.33 for the family plan. Okay, so if you would choose to take that cost on, it would increase our premium for single people $1,057.92 a year, and for the family it would be $7,291.44 for the year. Increased cost to the county. Now you could pass that on to the employee, the increase, if you would like. That would be up to you.
If we adopt it, is it good for 6 months or is it?
Well,
I'm concerned about looking at our budget.
okay.
In other words, can we adjust this during budget time?
This,
If we adopt it for this part of the calendar year, can we adjust it at budget time?
Oh, yeah.
well, this would be good
Make sure.
from January
Put it on the
January
record.
1st of 16 to January 30th for the calendar year. That
It has to
particular
be for the
increase.
calendar year. Something, if we don't do anything, it goes
Okay,
in
so
effect. Yeah.
we'd be in.
Yeah.
We'd be in for at least 6 months. but
Yes.
Yes.
We could adjust it for the following
Exactly.
calendar year.
Yes, we could.
In the budget time this
Yes.
time. I'd move we approve it for right now.
To have the county take on the
Yeah.
increase? Okay.
Second.
Properly moved and second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Just for clarification, is that both individual and family? Your motion? I just want to make sure.
No, that was for individual.
That's what I thought.
I'm-
Okay, that was, we've always just done individual.
Okay,
So
so-
that was my impression. Was individual,
I
correct?
wasn't clear.
Okay. I wanted to make
Sorry,
sure
I
it was.
wasn't clear
No, that's all
on
right.
motion.
It was made, just for clarification,
For our
for
employees,
individual.
for our employees.
Employees,
Okay.
okay, thank you. I just wanted to get that clear. Okay, consideration of possible dates for a meeting to gather public input regarding funding options for non-county agencies. I talked to Renetta, and we were looking at dates and times, and not having it on a W basketball game. So we ended up coming up with, was it Wednesday, January 27th?
Yes.
Is that correct?
I won't
At
be here.
6:30. You won't be here?
I won't be here. I'll be at the, I think, let me look.
I'm gonna step out and get my calendar.
Okay,
I've been selected, I'm one of 15 people who was selected to go to the Workforce Investment National Convening and represent West Virginia, that 26th, 27th, and 28th.
okay.
To the Workforce Investment in Washington DC that week.
I mean, it doesn't have to be on a Wednesday. We can go, well, we're gone, that week that we can't do anything is that 13th, 14th, because we're all gone that week. You know, we have the different things going on. We have the week of the I think we didn't do the 23rd because of a basketball game. But we could do, could we do Thursday the 24th?
How about the 3rd?
February 3rd?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I'm looking at the wrong one.
I'll say that.
Didn't you, something, February?
No.
Oh, that's fine, February 3rd?
3rd works fine for me.
Okay.
I leave on the 7th for the
Okay, February 3rd.
legislative session.
Where?
We thought we'd do it over here at the Sheriff's Building.
I'll have to
six-
get in touch with them and make sure that's
It's
available.
like 6:30 to 8:30, so that way, you know, people
Yeah.
could come right from work,
Yeah, that's fine.
okay? With your permission, and again, I had made some inroads to Morgantown City Council. I would like them, since it has involved many of those people, to have them be a part of, you know, inviting them too, so they could hear and listen too, because,
Open to everybody.
Yeah.
They can all come.
Okay, I just wanna make sure.
I hope everyone in the community comes.
okay, I just wanted to make sure that, you know, that there wouldn't be a problem with that.
We're not proposing anything.
No.
We want ideas from the people.
Exactly.
What they think's important, what should be funded, what shouldn't be funded,
Okay,
what they're committed
We are
to.
supposed to have a community leadership forum on the 6th, so.
we can bring it up then.
Address that then.
Okay,
6th of January.
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
I also have a phone call into Natalie Tennant to know exactly what is the last date if we were to put a levy on for the November election, just so we have a time span. If we were, and I say
Well,
if.
yeah, you need to put that information out. If
Yes.
anyone's proposing a levy, they
Exactly.
need to know when they have to get it to us
Exactly.
to approve it for the ballot. We don't,
Not response yet.
we don't approve the levies.
No.
We just say it's in the proper form to
Okay.
put it on the ballot.
Okay, and that's why I wanted to make sure that, you
We
know,
don't vote the levy up or down. We
No.
just say this is in the proper form to be placed on the ballot.
that is correct. Okay. Any other? Okay, reports from any elected officials? Anybody like to say anything?
They all left you, Tom.
Okay, good. Report-
Oh,
Reports,
there's Kelly. Maybe she goes speak for the
is there
sheriff.
anything you want to say, Kelly?
No, just Happy New Year to everyone.
Thank you very much. Reports from county commissioners.
I'd just simply like to thank everyone for their patience with me this past year. It's been an excellent experience. I've made the remark privately, I will make it publicly. I guess I did not know when I took this position that I would become not an expert, but so well-versed in taxation problems as well as some other issues that you really don't think about when you're looking toward becoming a county commissioner, particularly coal severance taxes. So let's hope for a good year next year and much success for Monongalia County. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd just like to thank the citizens of Monongalia County. There's a tremendous bunch of people. I was glad to be born and raised here and glad to call myself a Monongalian. It's truly great people and people that I think show leadership not only in our county but throughout the state and throughout the nation. So I thank them for being who they are. And basically, though I'm going through a tough time right now with the loss of my mother-in-law, I just want to wish everyone a safe and happy New Year.
Thank you. I have one report. You had asked me to meet with MUB, and I did meet with, I can't think of his name right this second. Tim Ball. I apologize, the horrible name. And a couple of questions that you requested, I asked for. He is planning to come. I voted on your calendar for a work session.
Yes,
20th, January 20th at 2:30. So he will come and give a presentation.
Okay.
So I wanted you aware of that. I did find out that of the residents, 50% are in the county and 50% are outside the county, inside the city, and 50% are outside the city that use MUB. So we did find that out.
Well, I got different numbers.
I know, well, that's what, also, they did look at all the plans, and as he'll explain, I did ask him two questions. One was about the $4 million water line, and he's going to bring some material to explain why they want to use the pipeline instead of use that creek, which I think, after hearing it, made sense. And the other thing is, I had asked him that we would wish that he could consider a phased-in 3 to 5 year plan. After finding that out, sometimes you be careful what you ask for. Because it would be phased in, you would have to then put in the interest. And by putting the interest, the cost would be up to 25% more to the public. So it's cheaper to put up the money now and go follow it step by step. And he'll explain all that. But it was a very good meeting. I appreciated the Senate Bill 234 basically is what caused all this movement and the situation in Charleston. So again, he will be coming as you requested. And finally, this is my last meeting as president. I do want to thank the two of you for putting up to my unique approach to meetings, and some may call spastic comments. And again, Ed, I appreciate sometimes you get going and you completely, even though you've done it for 11 months, you forget certain things, but the two of you I do appreciate it. And I really think I'd like to conclude with, from the three of us, that we were very fortunate this past year with our economic prosperity, and looking forward to the continued positive outlook for this county for 2016. And as we move forward, we will continue, I think the three of us, to continue to try and provide jobs for all of our citizens and to continue to diversify our economy. And I appreciate everyone's support. I wish everyone a happy and safe New Year's. And I look forward to hearing someone say, if there's nothing else, move to
adjourn.
Second.
Properly moved and second. We are out of here. Thank you.